Hello and welcome to your energy reading for the month of October 2012 using Feng Shui Astrology and the Tarot. Now this month in Feng Shui Astrology, the energy shifts around the 8th of October and we're going to be moving from a very light, relaxing, almost kind of light-hearted, fun energy of lake energy, which we have in September, into a much more serious energy. We are with heaven energy, and this is the energy of the Father. So it brings with it a maturity, a wisdom. It also brings with it responsibility and authority and boundaries, I suppose. So it's going to be a very, very different energy. What's interesting about this month as well is that from February of this year we have been in a heaven energy year, and so this month we have a heaven month as well, which means that everything's going to be very, very much intensified. Whatever type of year you've had since February, you're going to find that that's really, really intensifying. And I hope it's been a good year for you. If it hasn't been a great year for you, it could be that all these things are going to really come to a head, a little bit like a pressure cooker. And you know, that can be hard to handle, but the thing to remember or to hold on to is that sometimes things have to blow to clear the air and to be able to move on. So if things like that start to happen for you, then you know, just kind of hold on and go with it, and you will come out of it with a lot more clarity. So heaven energy, yeah, the energy of the Father. Now it's not necessarily a personal father or somebody who plays a supporting fatherly role in your life. It could be a social father, it could be perhaps the organisation that employs you, or it could be the government perhaps, or a government body. And it brings with it, as I say, this structure, a framework in which we can live, boundaries, authority, responsibility. And it may be that with this energy here that you are placed in a position where you have to take responsibility for something, or you have to exert your authority over something. You could be on the flip side, you could have somebody exerting their authority over you, or taking responsibility away from you, maybe usurping you or leaving you weakened in terms of your power. So there's potential for both sides of that to happen. The other thing with heaven energy, and this you can really use this month, is it's governed by the element of metal. And metal is all about focus. It's about really, really tightening our focus into almost this like laser beam, I suppose. And when we can really sharpen our focus, we can achieve so many things, and the energy is there to support you doing that. So it's a great month for setting goals or reviewing your goals. You know, if you have goals, just check to see that you're still moving towards them, you're still on the right path, and make the necessary tweaks. You've got the ability to see whether you're on the right path or not. If you haven't got any goals, then it's a great time to sit down and start thinking about them. They don't need to be huge ones, they could be just very small goals. But it's a good way to start thinking about what you want to achieve with your life, with this year, perhaps with this month, or even with this day. Any goals can be quite good in terms of motivating us. So that's the heaven energy. Now in terms of Auspicious Chi, this month, if you are looking for that fast, lucky energy that sometimes brings money into our life, that's going to be sitting in the east sector. So if you work from home, facing the east could be really, really good. If you have the east sector in your house that you use, maybe it's your kitchen or your living room or your bedroom, whatever, having some symbolism or imagery or something to represent your goals is very good. Water in this area is good to bring that auspicious kind of lucky chi into your life, or also healthy living green lush plants can do that as well. So focus on the east for that. Now, if you're more interested in relationships, either spicing up what you have or getting one, not always love relationships, just all sorts of relationships, then the sector you need to focus on is the north this month, the north sector. If you have imagery or pictures of you and your family, you and your partner, or even imagery of your ideal partner, if you're looking for somebody to come into your life, use the north to place your intentions there and to bring that energy into your life. And finally, on Feng Shui Astrology, if you are a 6 heaven star yourself, so if you have that heaven energy as your inherent energy, then you're going to be quite charismatic this month, but you have been since February. If you're not sure whether you are a 6 star, just go to my website and find the link for Feng Shui Astrology and you'll be able to work that out. But you know what is going to be happening is that you're going to find that your authority, your power, if you like, is really strengthened this month. You are going to be able to pull people to you. Now, if you're focused on your goals and what you want in your life, then you will pull those right people to you. You will pull the right opportunities to you to help you achieve that. However, because you've got this charisma, because you've got this kind of pulling power, and you have that parental, fatherly, supportive energy, you are also in danger of pulling people to you who want to suck that energy out of you, who want to be supported, who want other people to tell them how to live their lives. And I'm sure we all know people like that. But you 6 heaven stars, you are going to be pulling those types of people to you. So just be very, very careful who you let into your life and be very focused on your goals. And if these people come to you and they're not going to help you move forward with any of your goals at all, you need to be very, very careful as to how much you let them into your life. So you've got to think about not just the boundaries that heaven energy brings to us, but also your own personal boundaries. Okay, so let's move on to the tarot. Let's get a bit more detail about this energy. And, you know, looking at the tarot, we've got a lot of activity going on again this month. We did have last month as well. And it's a mixture of the same energies, but just kind of the emphasis has just shifted slightly. We have 2 Wands cards. The first Wands card we have is the 7 of Wands there. And the second card we have is the 8 of Wands. 7 and 8. Wands are of the element of fire. They're all about activity. They are fully yang. They're about doing. They're not about being. You know, we can all sit and be, but we can all get off our backsides and do. And there's such an energy here to get off our backsides and do. And in a way, it's not really initiated by ourselves. It's initiated by circumstances around us. I want to look first of all at this one, which is the 8 of Wands. Now, a lot of people think of this as a card which indicates travel, and very often it does indicate travel. Now, this is a general reading for all of you guys who come onto this and click on the play button. So it's not going to mean travel to all of you. However, it does have another meaning, and it talks about issues or projects in our life. And you know, when we plan to do something, we take this stage of we plan, don't we? And it all seems to go very, very, very slowly. Then all of a sudden, one thing happens, and it has this domino effect, and then things speed up and other things start to happen, and it has a knock-on effect and things speed up. And this card actually talks about that situation when things start to speed up. And we know when things start to speed up and everything falls into place and everything starts to happen, that we are coming to a conclusion that that project is ending. We are going to reach our goal. And I think really generally this card is very much about that. It's about reaching our goals and going back to that heaven chi and being able to focus on our goals and having the energy to focus on our goals. If we can do that, we can really bring the goals to us, and get them to happen a lot more quickly if we can be more focused. So that card, that energy is going to help us do that along with the energy of the month. Now the other card, the 7, we've got a guy in here. Now have a look at this guy. He's actually stood on a hill and he's holding his wand in a very defensive gesture. He's holding it in front of him so he's not vulnerable. It's as if he's pushing people away. And we see these other 6 wands underneath. And I want you to imagine underneath this picture there are 6 people, probably a little bit kind of angry and shaking their wands at this person. And you know, this is another side effect of having to be responsible, having to be authoritative, because we are not going to please everybody when we do that. And other people are going to say, well, you know, why should we do what you say? Why should we follow you? Why should we support you? And there are times when you have to defend yourself, when you are in that position of authority. And there are 2 ways you can go about being authoritative. You can just tell people what to do. You can be autocratic. You can just expect them to follow because you've been called leader. But you know, people aren't like that. And the important thing to remember is when you're exerting your authority is that what you are saying you actually believe in. It comes from your heart. That if you are telling people that they need to go and jump in this lake, that you are quite prepared to go and jump in the lake first, because then people will follow you. So when you do need to be responsible, when you do need to take that leadership role, you have to lead from what you believe is right, because people will then pick up on that subliminally and they're less likely to just shake their sticks at you. You'll still get some people, they just like to shake their sticks at anybody. You'll still get a few, but you're less likely to be put in that position where you have to defend yourself. However, if you are just telling people to do that because you don't want to do it yourself, or you are trying to convince them of something that you don't actually believe in, you know, people aren't stupid. They are going to know and they're going to give you a hard time. So if you are in this position where you have to take on that authority, just make sure that you're coming from the right space, and it will be a lot easier for you to do that. Okay, the 3rd card came up as a reversal actually. The other 2 were upright. So he came out of the pack like this. This is actually what he looks like. He's the Knight of Swords. Now, knights generally bring an interesting energy when they come up in readings. You always know you're going to have an interesting time when knights are around. They also bring a sort of immature version of that energy. Whereas kings have learnt and they can rule from a position of wisdom and experience, the knights are still kings in training, really. So they're kind of pushing their boundaries, they're trying things out, and they don't come from this this well of experience. They are just trying things out, really. They're rushing in. And as I said, they can bring interesting times with them. This one is the Knight of Swords. Swords are all about mental processes, very much about communication as well. You know, we often say the sword is mightier than the pen. No, the pen is mightier than the sword, in that we can use words and we can write words down and use communication to hurt people if we want to, or to boost people. So that sword is always double-edged. We can always use it one way or the other. And our intention can always be flipped, because it can be perceived one way or another by another person that can be completely different from what we meant. So there's that warning there to be very, very careful about what's going on in your head, what you're communicating. And if you saw the reading for last month, you'll know that that was very much a theme of the tarot card. So I think that's kind of pulling through, really. Now remember, this card actually came out upside down. When cards are reversed, they can mean all sorts of things. They can mean something completely different from the original energy of the card if it was the right way up. Or they can mean an intensification of that type of energy, the sort of, you know, worst possible scenario or best possible scenario of that type of energy. Or they can mean a complete reversal. They can mean a weakening of that type of energy. And I think in this case, that's really what this means. And the reason I believe that is because we have this heaven energy. We have this wise energy, this wisdom, this experience that comes from the heaven energy or the father energy. This energy has been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt. He has learnt lessons and he brings that wisdom to us. So whatever immaturity this knight is going to come in and try to wield in our lives this month, it's going to be weakened quite a lot by the overall energy of the month. However, there is still potential for miscommunication. There is still potential for hurting people. There is still potential for upsetting people and being perceived the wrong way, I suppose. So really, I think the message from this card is just be very, very careful. Be clear on what you want to say, and be clear on the way you say it, and try to put yourself in the other person's shoes in terms of how they would receive that from you. You have the ability to do that. It just takes us maybe a couple of seconds longer to do that when we normally communicate. So the more you can do it, the more you will naturally do it. And it's a really important part of being a good leader, a good person taking responsibility, somebody where you want other people to follow you. They'll follow you if you are much wiser about your communication. Okay, so that's all I have to say for October. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you next month.